Hey, gang. With many thanks to Evan, one of your classmates appears here in the classroom. We brought up a good question about clarity relative what actually has to be done for this particular assignment to answer a particular question. I'll get to that in a second. You all know that there is a template that you utilize for this assignment. So keep it simple, okay? You choose uh, one of these amendments, okay? Word count is one thing, but make sure when you summarize you're specific. All right, so we're going to look at these amendments in a minute to look at what rights are actually guaranteed. And if you notice, they're short, but they pack a real punch when it comes to guaranteeing, a whole plethora of rights. However, all right, they're not always going to be guaranteed. Identify a real world example where citizens' rights under these Bill of Rights, with these three, any one of these three may not be guaranteed. What circumstances may occur, okay, where the police, et cetera, the investigators, can allegedly, per se, depending upon the circumstances that they have to clearly articulate in their reports, where they use good grammar and excellent grammar and spelling and organization and fact-based references, right? That's why I'm asking all of you to make sure that you pay close attention to your writing. Some people say, well, this is again not a writing course. Well, it is, because that's what we do. Unfortunately, many people watch television programs and where they never write a thing down. And I don't know how they survive, because anything you write down, I don't care if it's on a scrap of paper and it's part and parcel to an investigation, is subject to discovery, a subpoena. It can be introduced into court. Okay, so, and you have to be very clear, and you have to know what you wrote, and many years could have passed since the incident. All right, so clearly explain where citizens' rights could conflict with the intention of CJ professionals to ensure safety. So think of that. What exigent circumstances? Now, the three videos are very, very good. Okay, and so pay close attention to what is being said in those. So let's look at the amendments for a minute. All right, let's look at the Fourth Amendment. All amendments are important. This one is more actionable, one of the most applicable to police investigations, okay, while they conduct something in haste, and that's legal. It's a legal phrase. Judges realize that police operate in haste because public safety can be an issue, okay, and they have to be very careful. Police have to be very careful not to forego public safety, okay, if in fact they have enough information. Whereas, well, someone could get hurt if they do not take immediate action. There are federal and state cases, okay, that protect the officer's rights to conduct a search without a search warrant. But again, it has to be dependent on the facts and the circumstances at the time that they have to write clearly, okay, on their arrest affidavits and in their police reports as to why they searched without a warrant. Okay, this is the word of the day when it comes to the Fourth Amendment. What is unreasonable? Now that's subject to debate, discussion, perception, etc. Many judges are going to have a different perception of what unreasonable means. Okay, so this is not all that prescriptive. This is not a dictation. Does not dictate. It just doesn't mean that police should be hesitant to try to search and seize in pursuit of protecting victims of crimes. Okay, so unreasonable could mean a lot of things, and it can be. All right, beyond the scope. The judges have ruled against some of these so-called fishing expeditions, for example. Okay, I'll give you an example. Route 495 in Massachusetts, many of the Mass State Police were profiling, based upon their training, the operating mannerisms of drug couriers. All right, so one was stopped based upon his absolute unequivocal adherence to the speed limit and lane changes and all this, and if I'm not mistaken, there was like a broken taillight or something. So the trooper pulled him over. The subject produced a license and registration, and the trooper said, "Hey, do you mind if I search your trunk?" And the driver said, "Not a problem." He opened the trunk, and I think he sees a number of kilos of cocaine, and he arrested him. It was thrown out. The evidence was thrown out because the judge said this is unreasonable. And he literally said in his brief, saying this was nothing more than a fishing expedition. It exceeded the scope of the stop. So just as an example, to be very, very careful. Doesn't mean you have to be perfect, and every situation is going to be different, but you have to be able to clearly describe what went on. Again, that's my reinforcement, and all your instructors from here on out, will do everything you can to insist, okay, that you take excellent command of the English language so you're always understood. That is priority one in our profession. Again, many people do not understand that because most of your criminal justice experience comes from Hollywood. Forget it. Okay, 85% of my time was spent making copious, detailed notes. And anytime I had to craft an arrest warrant or a search warrant, I had to have my facts straight and I had to have it aligned with probable cause. Going back to probable cause, okay, I should have emboldened this one. Probable cause has a definition unto itself. There may be some varying words in it. But I was in the police academy, we had to memorize that and we had to repeat it in a gas house where they would gas us with a gas mask. We had to take the gas mask off, and then we had to recite probable cause. That's how important it is. And what it is facts and circumstances. Okay, facts and circumstances within the mind of the officer that would lead a reasonable person to believe that a crime has been or is about to be committed. So a crime doesn't have to happen, okay, for an investigation and or a stop and a subsequent seizure to occur. All right. So, unfortunately, you don't see that process. You don't see those things played out in the movies and on television. The Eighth Amendment, okay, you can read that, very simple, very basic, okay, and the Sixth Amendment, same thing. You have speedy trial and public trial by an impartial jury, okay, that puts a lot of pressure on the court to pull a jury of peers, okay, wherein the crime shall have been committed in their jurisdiction, previously ascertained by law where it occurred, and they have to be told what they're being accused of, hear what this is so they can prepare along with the help of an attorney. All right, because people are not required to really have an in-depth understanding of how the processes and how the statutes can be applied, which may in fact result in loss of freedom. So make sure you look again at your template, keep it simple. If you have any questions, if you have any issues, you want to revise, you need time, please give me a call. I'm here to help.